to episode 4. We're wearing our party hat.
I gotta get mine on. Here we are. So,
Okay, we'll wait. We'll just wait for this to...
Yeah, there we go.
No, don't put it behind the ears. Your throat will close up.
I don't know why we have these baby hats. But
everything should be baby. If it's not miniature, it's not good. Like a Mini Cooper. So cute. Anyway, so it's the birthday episode.
Happy birthday.
Thank you so much. It's my 25th birthday.
47.
You wish it was 47.
Why do I wish that?
I don't know.
You're weird.
You're weird.
All right.
Anyway, you can go first with your news because it's my birthday.
Oh, I gotta go first?
Yeah, go ahead. You have like huge things that happen.
Not really.
The Women's World Cup thing.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. Funny thing. So Tim's obviously really into soccer. So there's this women's soccer player named Alex Morgan. He's like, my friend really likes Alex Morgan. I was like, okay, like I don't know who that is, whatever. So when he showed her to me, it's like this, I mean, she's just like a person, very basic. And so then later on in life, maybe like a month later, Tim's like, I actually really liked her. It was great.
I don't think I ever said my friend.
You said your friend. You said Chris Becker liked her.
I don't think Chris.
Yeah, you just made up a friend because you actually liked her and didn't want to tell me for some weird reason.
I don't know. You're weird.
You're weird.
You're weird.
Tim was hiding his like celebrity crushes. You just have to be like outward about it, you know.
Anyway, the U.S. Women's won the World Cup again, 4th time out of 8 World Cups. So 50% the U.S. has won, but you know, anyway.
They don't get paid for that though.
I mean, they don't, but they also don't bring in the revenue.
I was reading that they do.
On a compared to the U.S. team, yes, they should make the
Yeah.
same. They should make more than the men's team.
Who else are we comparing it to? This other U.S. team.
Well, like I don't know if FIFA determines that or if the U.S. does. I don't know.
It should be the U.S. and Alexa Morgan and Megan Rapinoe should be paid.
I really don't know who comes up with it,
handsomely.
but if FIFA has anything to do with it, FIFA as a like grand whole, the men's make way more than the women's. But anyway.
And they also don't allow you to make a female character on their games.
Well, that's just EA Sports. They're just rude like that. But maybe one day.
It's 2019. You should like have everyone on there.
Yeah, maybe one day. But you know, got that. The women's team won, and then the men's team, obviously, always a disappointment. So I stayed up and watched the men's against Mexico, and Christian Pulisic is further proving himself the greatest player the U.S. has ever had, but he wasn't enough.
He wasn't enough.
They
It's
had-
that full tatted sleeve though. Go on. Doesn't matter.
I don't know why we care about that.
You shouldn't. It's just, I was so surprised.
Because you think of him like our friend in North Carolina.
I think he's just the exact same. Like really like clean cut.
Yeah. I think he might surprise you too, but...
What?
Yeah, but anyway, here we are. The U.S. lost, and it was pretty embarrassing. Second half, Mexico dominated, like absolutely start to finish in the second half was all Mexico. It's really hard to watch, but...
So what happens to the U.S. men's team now?
Well, that was just the Gold Cup. I think the winner gets a special spot in another tournament later on, but it doesn't really matter for anything because nobody cares about consecutive, which is like North America. But we'll find out in the next World Cup how bad they really are. They probably won't make it again because now we have an MLS coach. Besides the point. Other news, the NBA has totally revamped all the rosters. There were, I think, 40% of all NBA players. This thing's hurting me.
No.
It's like really hurting
just
me.
breathe.
My head's too big for this thing.
You have a really big head.
Yeah, NBA had like 40% of all their players as free agents this time, so pretty much everybody changed teams. Steph Curry got left at the Warriors, like it's just him and Clay now.
He should be happy about that. Hasn't he only played for the Warriors?
Yeah, but I mean, like Kevin Durant is pretty awesome. He went to the Brooklyn Nets with Kyrie. You know Kyrie, Uncle Drew.
I love Kyrie.
Yeah, so he's there. Kawhi Leonard and Paul George to the Clippers. You probably don't know who either of those are. Kawhi Leonard won the championship this time, basically by himself.
Oh, the Toronto Raptors.
The what? Yeah, so that's about it. That's about it for me. The NBA's changing. Men's soccer is the same as it always is, awful. And the women's team is winning like always, but, you know.
No one could next. I'm having some trouble speaking today because it's my birthday, transitioning into a new age, you know?
Yeah.
As I enter into my mid-20s. What were you doing every July 14th before you met me?
Probably just living a normal day.
Really changed for you in 2013, huh?
Yeah. Big change.
Anyway, we can start with my news. I don't have too much news. Few celebrity pregnancies, a few celebrity weddings. So Zoe Kravitz from Big Little Lies, and also Lenny Kravitz and Monet. Forget her first name. Anyway, she got married in Paris. Pregnancies, Shay Mitchell from Pretty Little Liars is having a baby girl. She just like recently suffered a miscarriage, so that's like really good for her. And also someone that just suffered a miscarriage but recently gave birth was Ashley Darby from The Real Housewives of Potomac. So great for them, congratulations.
Congratulations.
So what I really wanted to dive into, or really wanted to speak about this time, was all the Disney movies coming out. I'm a firm believer in just leave the greatness where it was in the 90s with like Lion King in 1995, 94. Leave it alone. I understand if you want to have like Beyonce and all these people, it's just like, leave it alone. There's nothing wrong with it. And that one's not like a live action or whatever because it's still a cartoon. But I heard that they've like changed the story completely, where there's like more Nala, which is Beyonce, which is like obviously. Like they've changed it completely. I don't like it. They took out like Scar or something like wild like that. Hate it.
I think Scar's still there.
Yeah, but they have like, it's just stupid stuff. I don't even know if the hyenas, like there's just a lot of stuff missing. You're gonna be surprised.
I hope so.
They have a live action Mulan coming. Why? They've changed that story completely. The love interest is gone, which is like, I think his name is like, I forget his name. Anyway, he's gone. They've completely taken, they have like new characters in it. I don't want new characters. They're not going to be singing those classic songs like they were originally.
Real passionate.
Yes, because it irritates me. You know how good those songs were from Mulan, Christina Aguilera? Ugh. Anyway, they're also doing Aladdin, which completely bombed. So it's clear that they shouldn't be doing this. Toy Story 4 is obviously coming back, so they should have stopped at Toy Story 3 because that's when we were all like graduating in 2010. Close it up.
Close it up.
And I heard Toy Story 4 wasn't even good. But the big one is Little Mermaid. How do you feel about it? How do you feel about that casting? Halle Bailey from Chloe and Halle. Sorry, it's so hard to say her name. She's also on Grownish. She got cast as Ariel. How do you feel?
I thought it was Halle Berry.
Halle Berry's like 50 years old. Not that she can't, I mean, ages them. Come on now, Tim.
Yeah, I don't know. I think it's hilarious seeing all the Trump supporters out there going hammer about it. It's hilarious. But that's the America we live in.
That's the America we live in where anyone, like it's wild. Like who cares? It's a fictional character in the first place. She can look like whatever she wants, you know? Mm-hmm. Anyway, that's a mess. I don't think they should be remaking it in the first place, but whatever. Will I go see it? No. Will I watch it on demand or like when it's out on Netflix or something?
You will.
I will.
Yeah.
I will, but not paying money.
We're gonna go to see Lion King then.
I don't.
We're gonna be there. We're gonna be in theaters, supporting every minute of Lion King.
Whatever.
We'll be there.
Another thing is Power, a show that we binge watched in like 3 weeks. Returns on August 25th. It's supposed to be the final season, but 50 Cent's like, no, maybe it's not the final season, so we'll see what happens there.
Can't wait. Power's awesome.
Power is awesome.
Yeah.
So,
Big fan of Tommy.
You would be a big fan of Tommy. Were you Tommy as a child?
No.
Like, you know, like your black friends?
I didn't have black friends.
And you know, I'm super excited. My guest on the show her name is Terran, and she's the owner of a botanical skincare company, and she actually owns it with her husband, which I think is like the best thing.
So cool.
It's so great, right?
Yeah.
I think you should always, like, if you have the opportunity to go into business with your spouse, like, they just seem like they're, like, really killing it and loving it.
Mm-hmm.
If it works out, though. Like, I feel like me and Tim are, like...
be so irritating. It would be so irritating if I'm, like, actually working with you. I don't think that would work.
You do actually work with me.
Like, indirectly. Like, if I was working on, like, your marketing stuff with you, I would be so irritated. We are not alike.
Good to know. Good to know that my life partner finds me to be irritating. It's always promising.
It is.
Great. Okay, well, I'm just... Happy birthday to me.
Happy birthday.
Feeling real great.
Happy birthday.
Feeling real great. So stay tuned for my interview with Terran of Urban Eden. And thanks, guys, for tuning in. We'll see you for episode 5. Happy birthday to me. Say happy birthday.
Happy birthday. Can't take off the hat.
No, leave the hat on.
I'm taking the hat off.
The next week. All of July.
No.
Hey guys, welcome to episode 4 of Equilibrium. I'm Bria, the host, and I'm here with Terran, the owner and founder of Urban Eden. How are you?
I'm doing well, and yourself?
Yeah, good. Thanys for coming on the show.
Thank you for having me.
So, Urban Eden is a botanical skincare company. Tell me a little bit about how you found it and, what gave you this idea?
Okay, so when me and my husband were sophomores in college, we pretty much started interning at an urban farm. It's called Urban Sprout Farms. They're actually still around now. And then we got immersed into the farmers market culture. So we pretty much were selling vegetables and plants at the farmers market. Mm-hmm. And I just thought it was so cool, like just selling at a farmers market. I was like, oh, I want to do this with my life. And so I just started to find a skill. I was like, I need to find a skill. I wish I would have grabbed my book because I still have this book. So I've got this like really big craft book. And in it they were talking about like jewelry making and candle making, and I came across soap making, and I was like, okay, this looks interesting. And for some reason, out of this big book of crafts, like soap making just like stuck out to me. I ordered all the material to make it, and then I made like my first, it was a melt and pour soap at the time. And I just thought it was so cool because I used essential oils and herbs and botanical flowers. It was the first soap that I ever made was called like a botanical soap. And so I pretty much made it, and then I like posted it on Facebook and just showing that I like had made a soap. Like, how you just show a hobby. And so many people were interested. They were like, oh my gosh, I want a soap. And my husband already had a business. So he was already business minded. I was not
it like a health kind of business, or was it something
Yeah,
else?
it was based off of the farm too. He wanted to install vegetable gardens at people's houses. So he did like a landscaping business, and that was his specialty, was installing gardens. So he was like, you need to start a business making soap. But he was like, you need to learn to make it from scratch. Because the way I made it originally was melt and pour, where you pretty much melt down a base and then you add things to it. And that sounded so intimidating because like I lived in a 1-bedroom apartment at the time. But
how do you have space to do all that stuff?
like compared to what we have now, it was definitely difficult. But I learned how to make soap from scratch. I ordered all the material and looked up how to make soap from scratch, and it's just been growing and flowing since then.
So obviously we're in your brick and mortar store, which is amazing. We'll get to that. But tell me kind of do you have your own garden now? How do you make this, like, how do you do it? How do you make the soap?
We don't have our own garden, and now I pretty much just order a lot of material online. When I'm able to locally source herbs, I do, like calendula. There's a farm actually here in Douglasville where we're able to get some herbs from there. And us being at the farmer's market helps too, because we find other farmers who have different herbs. Actually, there's a farmer who does sunflower oil as well that we have yet to contact, but we will. But most of the stuff we get online. So I just pretty much research, like, my bookshelf is in my store. Like, that's so vital to me. Ever since I started, like, reading books has just been so vital, just because I've learned about skin. I've learned about different natural ingredients that you can use for the skin. And so I pretty much get a lot of my ideas from reading books.
I love it. So tell me what's the main ingredient in a lot of your soaps? Like, what is the one thing for skin that you're like, you have to have this?
Well, for the base of our soaps, all of our soaps are made with coconut oil, palm oil, and shea butter.
That good stuff.
Yes, and those are actually really important. I don't know if you heard of a Castile soap, right?
No, tell me about it.
So Castile soap is just made with olive oil. So we don't make Castile soap. We make our soaps with those 3 oil bases. And the reason why I like those 3 oil bases is because they produce a hard, firm bar. So like a Castile soap, it takes much longer for it to cure. In the curing process, it takes like 4 to 6 weeks. So that's why you see all these soaps lined up here. They're just like hanging out, curing. Because when we first make the soap, very fresh, like fresh batter. It's like cake. And we pretty much like let it sit in the mold for about 24 hours. And then we take it out and we cut it. I think, let me see, what's something that we just made? I had some tea tree and turmeric. This is something that we, like, it's super fresh. Like, we just made this a couple of days ago. So we just made this a couple of days ago. We just made this soap a week ago.
Now, what kind is this one?
This one is tea tree and turmeric.
Tea tree, and this one is?
That's our 420 citrus hemp soap, which was supposed to be a limited edition, but people won't let us let it be limited. So.
That's a good thing, though.
It is a good thing.
Oh my, so very cool.
So that's how a fresh soap looks compared to like a soap that's been sitting for, this one's freshly, it's cured and it's good to go and it's wrapped. So that's when we wrap our soaps pretty much. After this is after a couple of weeks of, and it needs that time because we use sodium hydroxide in the soap. And you'll see even on our YouTube that we talk about sodium hydroxide because people will reach out like, oh my gosh, you use sodium hydroxide in your soap. And it is a big myth that you can make soap without sodium hydroxide. People think that because with that melt and pour process, you just melt down the base. But if you're making soap from scratch, a bar of soap, you have to use sodium hydroxide. It's just a part of the chemical process of making soap. Like, soap making is chemistry. Like, I was never into chemistry, but it is chemistry.
Wow. So now you and your husband are in the store now. Does he do a lot of the hands-on stuff with you as well?
Yes. So he does. We pretty much have our roles within the business. I do product development, and he does social media marketing and sales. So
you guys have a great social media, by the way.
Thank you.
That's
really
all
all due to him. He's like a genius. He knows
all the
things.
stuff to do.
Yes, he knows all, and so we leave that to him. But he does help make the soaps as well. Now that we have an employee, the employee kind of helps make soaps a little bit more while he records, while we make it. But for the most part, he helped me a lot just when it was just me and him. He had to learn how to make soap, so he knows how to make soap just as well as I do. And he's full-time in the business as well. He stopped his landscaping business and does our stuff.
So now, not only do you have soaps, you also have essential oils. Is it kind of the same ingredients in the process of making those?
So in all of our products, we only use essential oils. We don't make essential oils. People think that we do, but essential oils, the process of making essential oils is very tedious. Like, you would have to have a business specifically for essential oils. Yes, because you steam distill it or cold press it out of flowers. So they need like a lot of flowers, and you gotta have a distillation system for it. So we just make the soaps, but all of our products only use essential oils. We don't use any synthetic fragrances. And just throughout my readings, I've come to find I wanted this to be a plant-based business. And fragrance oils don't come from plants. They are literally like lab made. They're made to mimic essential oils are made to mimic things like apples and strawberries, but essential oils are only going to come from the plant. So that's why we use essential oils. They're the essence of the plant. So.
I love it. And it smells so good in here. It
smells like essential oils.
I love that when I was like, just the aroma smells so good. So natural. So tell me, you just opened this brick and mortar location. Will you open more locations?
We plan to open up more locations. Actually, we want to, we're torn between like wanting to have a factory and like maybe making this is about 1,000 square feet. We might want to make this into a full-on store at some point, but we do want to have more locations because everything in Atlanta is super far. So Douglasville is like 30 minutes from Atlanta. And initially we were looking in Atlanta, but it's very expensive to find a place in Atlanta. So we just wanted to pretty much get our feet wet. Our online store we had our online store for about 3 to 4 years before we actually got the brick and mortar store. So that was where we did the majority of our business. But having a brick and mortar has proven to be really, really well as far as like revenue, people being able to come here and actually meet me and see how the soap is made in some cases. So I think we definitely want to have another location at some point.
That would be good. Yeah. And so you do a lot of farmers markets now. That's how a lot of people have found out about you, I'm sure. How does that been for you? Do you love doing that?
It's been amazing. In the beginning, we've probably been doing farmers markets for about 3 years now. And when I first started, I was actually a server at a restaurant. And I was just like, I wanted to be full-time with my business. And I was like, how do I become full-time with my business? And so I was like, I knew that I wanted to raise the awareness of the brand. I wanted everybody to know about Urban Eden. And I was like, well, my first start would have to be local. So, I was already immersed into the farmers market culture. And so once I felt comfortable enough, I pretty much applied for my own position as far as having my business being in there. And it's helped tremendously. We do farmers markets and, Atlanta has tons of festivals, events. So we do all of that. We do all of that.
So you guys have been so successful now, and now you're actually started doing classes for people to learn how to make soap. Tell me about that.
Okay, so we used to do soap making classes. Well, we still actually do soap making classes at the Auburn Market. But now that we're in Douglasville, we want to offer that opportunity to people out here and within our own store as well. And so we have our first class coming up this Sunday, July 14th, and we're going to be doing a...
It's my birthday.
Is that your
It's
birthday?
my birthday.
Happy birthday! Wait, July 14th, you're a Cancer. Okay, I was about to say borderline. You're a Cancer. Okay, cool. And then we're going to be doing them every 2 weeks after that. And Sundays are really great days for us because we're closed at the store. And we want to do, we're thinking about like the minimum, we're thinking about like 12 people, maximum.
Okay.
Just so that we're able to be intimate with people, be able to show them hands-on how to make soap and pretty much walk them through the process. The most important thing is that we show the safety of using soap because there are certain requirements, like you have to wear long sleeves, long pants, closed-toe shoes, goggles. Like, it's serious. That's why I said it's chemistry. Like,
Wow.
people used to be like, you look like Breaking Bad whenever I wear my stuff because, like, when you're all suited and booted, it's like, what are you about to do?
And why do you have to wear all that protection?
Because of the sodium hydroxide. So if any of it gets on your skin, and that's why we do that curing process too. So if any of it gets on your skin, it can be a skin irritant at that point. So in that curing process, you let it sit for about 4 to 6 weeks, and it actually becomes an inactive ingredient, and it dissolves out. It loses the water weight in that period of time. But right then and there, it's very fresh, and believe it or not, it's food grade sodium hydroxide. They actually use sodium hydroxide to make pretzels.
Really?
Yeah, they like dip it in the pretzel. They dip the pretzel in there really quick. So yeah, it's food grade. But I think like after a while, it must just like the effects die down. But
Let's
very
hope so.
fresh. It is harsh. And so that's why it's really important to have the soap making classes. And so many people are becoming interested in making soap as well. And even to make it for your family is really cool. And just to be able to experience. I like it as an experience for other people. I think I get more excited with other people, like watching them make soap and seeing their
Reactions
finales.
to
Yes.
it. And now after the classes, they get to take home 2 pounds of soap? That's a lot of soap.
That's a lot of soap that they get. I'm like, you can cut it however you want to cut it.
So is it like a big chunk of soap? Like a big
It is. We actually use like a loaf pan. We get like loaf pans from the store, and it does about 2 pounds of soap in there. So it's like even when I tell people we're making soap, I like it's like cake or cornbread or brownies pretty much that we're making to me. So and they usually see it when that fresh batter, it looks like cake.
So during the classes they get to pick which scents they want and kind of I don't know what they're called. Like if I wanted oatmeal, is it like a bowl of oatmeal that they put in there? So it's just like
not a whole bowl. Okay. But we do pretty much set it up like we set the herbs up in bowls.
Herbs, that's what
and then the herbs, yes. We set the herbs up in the bowl, and then people take accordingly to what they want. The one thing I haven't done in my soap making classes yet, which I do want to branch off and do, is coloring with the natural colors. So like how we have a tea tree and turmeric soap. This is one too. We actually used a different turmeric powder, so they look similar, but that's another thing about handmade soap is that you can make something and they can look different. They all have their own look, even with the taps. They all have
these are called
different
taps.
looks.
So taps is like the little
the textures are the tops of them. Pretty much people like the textures and the tops. So when I make a whole loaf, I do like my swirls and all in them.
Very cool.
And I forgot to tell you another thing about the soap making class because I like to go over a lot of information.
No, I love this. Tell me everything.
Just go. But another thing that we teach people in the soap making class is the difference between handmade soap and commercial soap.
Tell me about it.
So with commercial soaps, they take the glycerin out of the soap. So when you actually make soap, it's called a saponification process. So you get soap and you also get a byproduct, glycerin. And they actually like strip that out of the soaps, but glycerin is actually very moisturizing and it's a humectant, so it draws moisture out of the air and it seals it in to the skin. So we pretty much do that, and with most handmade soaps you can control the ingredients that you put in there if you're making it from scratch. So you can use those plant-based oils and butters as a base versus commercial soaps, which use a lot of synthetic chemicals. Commercial soaps are actually called synthetic detergents. They're not called soap. Because because
so like
they're
Dove and like
Dove, if you go to their website, it'll say Dove is not a soap, it's a beauty bar. They don't call it a soap.
They do call it a beauty bar.
Yeah.
What about Method?
Method is, I don't think they make bar soaps.
Oh, that's true.
They call those surfactants, what they put in there.
What about Lush? Do you like going to Lush?
I like Lush, yes.
You
And
do.
Lush, actually, I like Lush. It's a lot of, I can't do a lot of scent though. Like Bath and Body Works hurts my head. Lush hurts my
Every
head.
time you walk by Lush, I'm like, I have such a bad headache.
I know, it's like a headache.
Yeah, 'cause it's
and
too
they
much going
use
on.
natural stuff, but they use, not in all of them. They do
Mhm.
have like natural ones, but yeah, it is too much fragrance and all in there. I can't do too much fragrance. That's why I like essential oils.
And then like I am normally very sensitive to fragrance, but even coming in here, it's like it's subtle, but it smells.
therapeutic.
I love it in here. You
You
can sit
feel
here all day.
all is well.
All is well inside. So Terran, I think this has been so great. Thank you so much for sitting with me and talking to me about this. Any plans for what's coming up? You said you want to ultimately do a few more locations, wholesale.
Maybe, possibly.
Maybe.
I know more people want to see us, but I just want to create more products. Soap
Mhm.
is our foundation. We do body oils, we do body butters,
Mhm.
we make liquid soap, and I've been branching off. I want to make body scrubs. So I just pretty much want to just step more into my herbalist role and just create as many
Herbalist.
herbal healing remedies that I can. So there'll be more herbs coming.
I love it. I'm gonna look. I have to sign up for a class.
You do.
I
It's
really
a great
need to. I
experience.
need to. So tell people how they can find it and how they can purchase your products.
Okay, so you can find us on Facebook. You can also, Instagram is our best way really to find us. So Instagram, Urban Eden without the apostrophe, HERBNEDEN. And on there you can see our Instagram stories where we show us like making soaps, show us at different events, me and Quentin just acting a fool for the day, what have you. And on there you can see our email, you can call us on there. But our website is www.urbaneden.com, and we also have a YouTube channel as well where we just show us like being partners in business, in life, and in love.
You have to. I feel like that just it's better that way.
It
right?
is. It is.
Well, Terran, thank you so much for coming on the show.
Thank you. Thank you.
Everybody, visit the website, Instagram, all that good stuff. It's just so good. Thanks, guys, for tuning in. I'll see you next time.
Peace.